Well, we're getting ready as we welcome you back for action at 141. And we are in Lock Haven. Jed Donahue along with Tony Honorado. There it is. Tyler Nauman of the University of Pittsburgh. Colin Johnston from West Virginia. So we got a West Virginia Pitt thing going here at 141.
Yeah, they call that the backyard brawl down there a lot, and those schools not being very far apart. And these guys are both freshmen and both from the state of Pennsylvania, and so it should be a very interesting match between the two. Now, this is one of those weight classes where only one person automatically kind of moves into the NCAA tournament. So this is especially a big match for Colin Johnston, because if he doesn't win, he's going to have a tough time meeting enough of those criteria in order to get himself into the tournament.
Yeah, trying to even go at large. It's a tough door to crack. So we're at Thomas Fieldhouse here at Lock Haven, this year's host for the 34th annual EWLs. Nauman to the right of your screen is a revelation. You talk about, Pitt being very, very young with only 3 NCAA qualifiers coming back. Young guy out of Middletown, Pennsylvania, 156 career wins in high school. Kind of a late bloomer, but this guy has been fabulous for Pitt so far this year.
Well, and when you talk about things like late bloomers, a little attempted shrug, and Johnston not able to get in a negative
way. Did win 156 in high school.
Yeah, that's pretty good. When I'm saying things like that is, that's important for especially those kids in high school and middle school that are wrestling, or really in any sport for that matter, to keep working, keep plugging away at things, especially developmentally as things go on over a period of time. You turn into something that maybe somebody hadn't thought you were early on. A nice attempted high crotch by Nauman, just not able to hook that well enough in order to get in as deep as he'd like to.
Johnston with a 6-2 decision of Steve Wade of Edinburgh. Nauman knocked off Rick Donald of Bloom, a highly rated prospect here in the EWL. 5-2 in a decision there.
Now just a little bit of a feeling out process so far in this match. Both of them look a little, I don't want to say tight necessarily, but they're certainly not as fluid, I don't think, as either one of them would like to be. And out of the two of them, Nauman looks far more comfortable on his feet right now than Johnston does.
Well, the one thing, too, about Nauman last year, in the room, he'd be going toe-to-toe with Drew Headley, who's the defending champion at 141.
That helps. That helps a lot.
That really is, and that helps Nauman, and it certainly helped Headley last year.
That's right. Nauman in on a nice single leg, and Johnston tries to fight that out, put it through the head to the outside. Nauman drives right through and is able to finish that off as a double for a 2-point takedown.
And I think that's where he's graduated to the level where he's in these EWL finals. His ability to finish that particular move with that strong upper body and the drive to be able to get there.
Well, that was what you would call a freshman-oriented mistake. He had that kind of gator roll through where he tries to stick him, Johnston put him on his back from that front headlock position, and he almost got it. He almost got it. The problem is that you do that twice in a row. The other guy goes, hey, I know how to counter this. so he does, and he ends up giving a reversal to make it 2-2.
I'll give you an idea. I mean, Johnston comes with some unbelievable credentials from Canon McMillan High School, one of the gold standard programs in Pennsylvania, in District 7, Pittsburgh area, from '84, Pennsylvania.
Just actually up the road from Morgantown, so didn't have to travel very far to go to college. There's the end of the first period.
Red choice, top bottom, neutral defer. Red defers, green.
We'll get an idea what Johnston, here it is. Tony, take us through it.
Well, there's that, it just switched off to the double leg and just powers right up through him, keeps himself in good position and traps that that knee so that Johnston can't brace out on that and gets himself a nice 2-point takedown. Just technically very sound.
A little tough to stay on one leg when you got that big, thick upper body coming through on you on that move.
Well, in a lot of those things, it's good technique, it's good position, and that creates very good pressure going in certain areas, and it's hard to fight out of some of that stuff when somebody's in the right spot. I guess that's why they teach you to do it that way, so it is hard to fight out of those things so you can finish them and get a takedown.
Make them work. Make them work. Snap that hand off.
thought Nauman might spend a little more time on top, but Johnston got out of there pretty quickly to tie the score up 3-3, so they're both back on their feet.
So many wrestlers love to score points off their feet, you know. I mean, just that's the one underrated thing about wrestling is just how brilliant and how good you need to be on your feet.
Well, and the other thing too is, Jed, when you're on your feet and you can get yourself a takedown, a lot of times it creates those added scoring opportunities where sometimes where somebody is the most vulnerable for a near fall is right as soon as you're taking them down. So a lot of opportunities to score from those near fall points off those takedowns. So if you can be good on your feet, not just in terms of dominating the matchup there, but you get some additional opportunities to score. And Johnston, not exactly sure what happened. It was kind of an attempted shrug. Johnston, as Nauman went to shrug him, Johnston just kind of ran through him, almost had himself a takedown, wasn't able to settle his hip very well, and Nauman's in on the single leg, trying to come around the back to score that takedown. Doesn't have it yet. They're on the boundary. If he can grab that ankle, he's got himself a takedown. He's not able to get it yet. He's going to try to pull it back on the mat. Not yet.
Well, he's also, it helps, he's got his own coaching staff over there telling him that his feet can stay in bounds. He's getting a little verbal help over there with the boundary. Look at him, hold that line.
And Randy Garrison, who's the official there, is certainly not going to bend to the will of the West Virginia coaching staff, that's for sure, but just a very interesting sequence of events taking place there. And here it is. He just tries to shrug him by, and as he does so, Johnston just runs right into him, almost gets himself a takedown and a near fall, just not able to settle his hip very well, and Nauman pops out, creates a little bit of space and finds his way to get out, and they end up neutral.
Randy Garrison is our referee here at the match at 141. We're going right into the final period. Wide open, and again, this is winner take all for the most part. There is no automatic berth for the runner-up, third place, or anything.
No, definitely not.
So the pressure is definitely here for this one.
And out of the two of these guys, Johnston, if he doesn't win based on the criteria they have, he's going to have a very, very difficult time getting into the NCAA tournament. Nauman, a much better chance with a 20-7 record and had an RPI of 12 and ranked in the coaches area with, RPI 17. The coaches ranked him in that 12 area, which was prior to all these championships and things. So
you got guys all over the country going up or down.
And I suppose that creates some excitement, but it can be a little confusing for people to try to follow to figure that. You know, it's a statistically oriented configuration that you're trying to work, and you know what it's like to try to describe statistics on.
Well, it's been somewhat controversial. I mean, you know, some of the Big Ten coaches don't like it. But I think these RPI and these particular math equations were put in to try and help some of the smaller conferences around the country. The EWL would probably qualify.
Ooh. And almost a nice kind of elbow, posted the elbow and had a high crotch that he didn't quite finish it. Johnston didn't really take it in and shoot it. But you're right. You know, the idea behind it was to create something that had to do with rewarding people who are having a good season this season. Not necessarily because there had been a history of certain teams or certain conferences having good seasons. Nice little scramble there on the boundary. And so they're attempting to do that. We'll see how that works out exactly, and I'm sure they'll have to tweak it over a little bit of period of time.
You know how first years are with certain things.
Yeah, exactly right. Johnston in on a shot, and Nauman's trying to roll him through. He doesn't quite have it yet.
Johnson trailing by one.
There's 6 seconds left. It's close. It's still neutral. 2 seconds, and that's the end.
4-3. Wow.
And they're no points awarded. 4-3. Nauman's going to win.
And I'll tell you what. West Virginia coach Randy Stoudemire not happy at all the way that went down.
Well, you know, the great scramble at the end, and you know, somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose. It's a 4-3 match.
Oh, that's tough.
You just and that's the difference in the, in the match. Just comes down to those little things like that.
Well, here it is. You say the slimmest margins for defeat or whatever. Here it is.
Here's the escape. I mean, Johnston basically he makes a calculation. He's going to say, can I ride him for the entire period? Not sure that I can.